The history of Arda begins when Ilúvatar embodies the thoughts that Einar brought forth during the music, and sends the imperishable flame to dwell in the heart of the world. This is the beginning of Ea, the world which is. Arda, place and landscape, is a chance for those who have recently arrived in Middle-earth to discover some of the most beautiful places that existed within the legendarium, and also for the seasoned Tolkien travel to visit some of the marvels that have enchanted them for years, just like Thingol was enchanted by Melian in Nan-Elmont. So prepare your backpacks, pull out your maps and fill up your water bottles. We are about to immerse ourselves into the whole inner consciousness of reality expressed by Tolkien's work. North of Calasiria on the coast of Aman, there was a great arch, sculpted by the sea, which gave access to a natural harbor. In this place, the Teleri built the city of Alcolond, the principal settlement on the continent. The light of the true trees hardly reached the city, which was illuminated by the shining stars and by many lamps of gold and other colors. Alcolond was also covered in pearls that the Teleri had found in the sea and gems given to them by Rådlund. Known as the first place in Arda, Lorien was full of silver willows, flowers and lakes. It was inhabited by nightingales and many spirits at the service of Irmo and Este. The wells of Lorien were visited by the elder, the mayor, and even the Valar for rest and refreshment. The exact location of Lorien is difficult to determine. It seems to have been a place that was accessible both to the Valar and the elders, situated near the two trees, which be placed in the eastern part of the continent, not far from Valamar Lorien. Outside of the western gates of Valamar stood a hill on which Teleperin and Lorien grew. The two trees sprouted there after Javan hollowed the place, and Niana watered the mound with her tears, while the rest of Valar watched. Under the trees the wells of water were found, great woods almost as big as lakes, in the which Varda watered, the dew falling from the Teleprion and Laurel. The first capital of Númenor must just be one of the most curious cities that ever existed in Arda. It was situated in the region of Andostar, with one part of the city hugging in the bay and another part sprawling across the steep hillside which reared it. In the first years of the kingdom, Antonia was the largest city on the island and was visited by the elves coming from the Tor Eresa. The eyes of an Icelander or a visitor who traveled inland were inevitably drawn to the Meneltarma, the tallest mountain of Númenor, located in the region of Mitalma. It had 5 shoulders that extended across the central part of the island, dividing it into 5 distinct regions. The tombs of the kings and queens of Númenor are found on the southern slopes of the Meneltarma in a valley called Nordgren. The great forests that provided Númenor's shipyard with wood were located in southeastern part of the island, in the region of Hirostar. The southern coast of the region was dominated by beaches with white sand, while the settlement of the Nidamos, the major fishing port on the island, was situated on the western border next to the mouth of the river Cyril. the years of trees, Melkor built Angband to be used as a fortress and an army outside of Utumno, his stronghold in the north. The citadel was located close to the northwestern coast of the Great Sea in the Iron Mountains, and served as a first defensive structure against any attacks coming from the west. While Elve was walking in the woods of Neldoret and region, he discovered a forest of Nanelmot. There a spell fell upon him, and he forgot about his people, following the birds to the deepest parts of the woods, to a clearing illuminated by the stars, where he found Melian. Elve instantly fell in love with her, and once he touched her, he was unable to move. Sometime later, Nanelmot became the home of Eal, the Dark Elf. Northwest of Doriath, outside the girdle of Melian, there was a densely forested area on the borders of Dorthinian. It received its name from the birch tree Bretil in Sindarian that grow thickly in the region. Thingol allowed the people of Halat to dwell here, and in exchange they defended the crossings of Teglin. south of Brethil, in the midst of the wild moors, between the rivers Siron and Norog, stood the hill of Amon Rud, the name which means bold hill in Sindarin. It's due to the fact that nothing grew up on the rocky hillside except the red Saragon. The pitted dwarves dwelled there in hiding for many years, building pathways and entrance around the summit. When Isildur and Anorin arrived in the Middle-earth after surviving the fall of Númenor, they sailed upstreams on the waters of the Anduin, the river that flows across Endor from Rådlund to the Western Sea. The two brothers established the kingdom in exile of Gondor on both sides of the river, while their father Elendil founded the kingdom of Arnor in the north, west of Anduin. One measure of length of the river is the amount of name it's received on behalf of different people settled along its shores. The Ethelred called it Langflod, while at river level and in the Shire it was known in Westron as the Great River of the Wilderland, and in Gondor it went under the name of the Great River. The Barodons were haunted by evil spirits, sent there by the Witch King after a great plague spread across the Cardolan. The area then became a place of terror and was never again inhabited. The witch that dwelled there were awakened by the selfsame Witch King for the purpose of catching the ring bearer. And they would have managed to do so if it hadn't been for the arrival of Tom Bombadil, who saved a group of hobbits. In the far east of the Middle-earth, on the shores of the inland Sea of Helkar, was the Bay of Köivenem, where the first elves awoken during the years of trees in the War of the Wrath. Köivenem was destroyed and the Elder could not find it ever again. Celebrimor, the road that connected the city and the Dwarf Kingdom, favored the commercial bonds between the two communities and made it possible for the two kingdoms to reach the higher points of splendor. Sauron was attracted by the flourishing city and its artisans, and arrived at its gate as its most beautiful form, under the name of Anatar. The most fertile region of Mordor was known, where the ash falling from the Mount Doom provided soil with nutrients that made it possible to grow things there. The plantation depended on the rainfall, since the water of the Lake Nirn was salty. Sauron turned Mordor into his center of evil, and from where he attempted on several occasions to extend his dominance across the Middle-earth. Built as a refuge for those who escaped from Sauron's attack on the Eredor, the Rivendell was located on the edge of a gore of the river Bruin, hidden among the folds of the foothills of the Misty Mountains. The upper part of the valley was populated by pines, and winding paths led to the bottom of the valley, mainly populated by oaks and beeches. At Rivendell, Elrond kept the charge of Nazril, Elendil's sword, the scepter of enemies, and the star of Elendil, all which were heirlooms of the lost kingdom of Arnor. Uncomfortable inside the barrels, Thorin and company left Thranduil's kingdom floating down the forest river until they reached the long lake and the city of Esgaroth. The city was located on the western side of the lake, just north of the mouth of the forest river. Esgaroth was built entirely of wood on pillars stuck in the bottom of the lake and was connected to the shore by means of long bridge, likewise made of wood. The kingdom of extended across the entire forest, but because of the invasion of the dwarves and the growing power of the Sauron, the people of the realm were gradually displaced to the north. During the War of the Last Alliance, Orfra, who led an army against Sauron, was killed. He was succeeded by his son Thranduil, who ruled the Woodland realm peacefully for many years.